Right.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome back to the Wealth Bridge. And this is where we talk about the money conversations that we absolutely need to have. As many of us, may not be prepared for it, but we need to have those money conversations. And as always, I am joined by my ever-ready co-host today, and that is in the person of Ademola and Modupe. How are you guys doing? You want to
Well,
say hello to our audience?
I am wonderfully and fearfully made and
Okay.
blessed.
I
Just
can see
loving
that.
it.
I can see that.
And I
That
am blessed
beautiful
and I'm
smile.
highly favored, ready to roll.
Ready to roll. That's great, Mudupe. So thank you everyone for joining us again today. And our episode of WellBridge today is a personal one. It is honest, and also for many women, it is deeply relatable, I would say. It is also dedicated to all women out there, as we want to jointly wish you happy Mother's Day. You don't have to have birthed a child to be called a mother. I believe every woman, it's a mother. So we want to wish everybody happy Mother's Day. Thank you for all you do. And I know that Ademola agrees with me that
Yes,
without us,
I won't be here.
things will not be the way we want them to be. So happy Mother's Day, everyone. So
Happy-
today we're talking about motherhood, money, and sacrifice, and those truths that no one tells you about. Or maybe I should say the truth that no one says aloud. Okay? Because behind the beautiful moments of motherhood, um, real financial decisions are being made every day, every single day. Decisions about time versus income, careers versus caregiving, providing now versus building for later. And also for many mothers, especially in the immigrant households, those decisions always come with silent sacrifices. So today we want to, we're saying those quiet parts that nobody hears, we're going to be saying them loud. And we're hoping that some women out there will relate to this, and this way also impact your life positively. So at the same time, I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not saying we're not trying to complain, or we're not trying to just to complain about what we do, but just to bring clarity and validation and also strategy, because sacrifice without a plan can always lead to struggle. So at the same time, sacrifice with intention can lead to stability. So let's get into it. Demola and Mudupe, I want us to have a conversation today. I don't want us to lecture. We're not lecturing. We're not teaching. I want us to have a conversation and just break these things down, uh, so that people that are watching us can actually relate to some of the experiences. Like Demola, who is a man, should be able to tell us something. You have a beautiful wife at home who is a mother, and you were also born of a woman. So you will have some things that you want to say. What's funny, Mudupe? Is
He
it not
said he
born of
was
a
born
woman?
of a woman, so I had a laugh. Sorry.
Okay. No, is it not born was it not born of a woman? He is.
Okay.
Uh-huh. All
Yes,
right. So let's get into it.
loud it.
Yeah. So some of the points I'm gonna be bringing up, let's just talk about it. The first thing is that hidden cost of womanhood, of motherhood. The hidden cost of motherhood. There are financial impacts that are always talked about, like the lost income, career, pauses, when you have to like put a hold on your career, to sacrifice for your children or for the home, and also sometimes increased expenses and things like that. So, what are some of the hidden financial costs of motherhood that people don't always consider? I want both of you to chip in. I mean, let's pick out some of these things, those things that people don't consider. I would say, Modupe, maybe you want to go first on
Okay.
this.
Absolutely. Happy Mother's Day to every woman out there, lady, mother, mothers in waiting, all mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. Um, Debola had started out, and I just want to quickly have a quick stab at that. If you ask me that, that are probably not talked about, not mentioned, I will tell you that those things cannot be monetized. Okay. Um, I recently just listened into a lady gave birth, and I heard somebody trying to just rejoice with them. And what was it she said? She said, "Oh my God, thank God for Johnny Mercies." I relate a lot with her because the journey to motherhood is actually a journey. It's just as if you're getting on that airline, you're getting on that ship ride, and for you to come back home and be safe and sane, it's a whole lot. So first and foremost, I'm going to throw it out there. The cost in which, a mother will have to, bear with can never be monetized. You can't put a value to it. It is gold. It is diamond. You cannot place a value on it. Many people are so quick to think about the obvious cost. They think, oh, yeah, the cost of childcare, the cost of diapers, school, and whatnot. But it goes beyond that. The loss of the income, right, from being reduced now to just having to care for the family, missed promotions. Many a times we go on maternity leave, ladies. Now we go on maternity leave, and in that same scenario, you find out that certain promotions that were meant for you will probably have to have been skipped if you're in the corporate world. Other than that, maybe you literally just, hence that career path. You probably just got your MBA, you probably just got your master's, and you add that for a reason. And in the course of that, you're pregnant. I'm speaking to myself. I actually was pregnant when I was graduating, finishing my MBA. And so I finished up my MBA, and then I had the baby. I had plans, for that particular degree and all that. Oh, I was going to get a job and all that. And by the time I was having to now consider the options before me, it means I have to give up a whole lot of my time. It means I have to do a lot of travel time. It wasn't going to work. Guess what I did? You all probably know what I did. I gave up that job. I gave up that opportunity to say, you know what? It means a whole lot for me now to stay back and stay with the newborn. Talk about fun. It's not never going to be enough. So for us immigrant mothers that are out there, this is an added responsibility. Not only are we having to deal with that, we also have families back home, right? We're raising the children here in diaspora, and we're having to look backward to see what can we do? How can we add value? Debola, to be honest with you, I cannot place a cost on it. These are opportunity costs.
I totally agree with you.
I cannot put a cost on it, but it is so valuable. We bring a lot of things to the table. Apparently, I like to say we are the table. If you like to argue that with me, bring it on.
So I would say, motherhood is isn't just an emotional or physical shift. It's a major financial shift, and that financial shift deserves planning and acknowledgement. A lot of acknowledgement, I would say. I believe Ademola agrees with me.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of acknowledgement. Mothers go through a lot that's nobody can really understand it than mothers. Let me just put it that way. And let me just say women generally, because there are some women that are mothering other people's children, even though they don't have their own personal ones, and this really goes around everybody. So, Mudibet, thank you for pointing out some of those hidden costs of motherhood, some of the sacrifices that mothers have to make, and that's why we have this beautiful days, dedicated to them. Okay, so let's talk about the career versus caregiving, because you did mention it with career versus caregiving.
Mm.
They have to give up their career to take care of their, choosing between staying in the workforce or stepping back. So how should mothers think through this decision of, staying home versus continue to work? What is your opinion, Ademola? What do you think? How do you think it should go?
I mean, once
Because
again,
it's
I'm
reality,
happy.
it's really happening. Sorry to cut you short, it's
Yeah,
happening. So
it is. It
we
is. It
have to
is.
talk about it.
First and foremost, I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day and thank you for all the mothers out there, all the women out there doing their thing. God bless you. And this is a very, very important topic, and I mean, and we're really focusing on the women in the diaspora because that's what this channel we're more focused on is the diaspora and community. And I want us to understand that it's most times is always that financial choice, because if you had to look at it, is either you put the kids in a daycare and you still have to pay for daycare. So what's the point of even doing the daycare? Because what you're actually even bringing in, it's basically you're bringing it in and you're giving it right down to the daycare. So at
Mhm.
times, most women just would prefer to just be home and take care of the kids and give the kids the right care. But that is a trade-off for their career. So it means that career has to hold off. And for some women, especially if maybe they are, they came from, the corporate world, coming from whatever country they come in into, and they get here to the US, you know, they can't even continue with that path anymore, especially they get here and they have kids. It becomes very, very difficult to continue with their path, so they have to stay. So this is one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about, and I think it's it does not just have just the financial impact to it. It's something that has both a short term and a long term impact, financially. And some women find it even difficult to get back into the workforce after
Mm.
being, it's one thing
It's
for you to
true.
have one child, but you're having one child, nursing the child, and everything is going on, and you're thinking you give yourself maybe 1 or 2 years. Guess what? You become pregnant again,
It's true.
and you stuck. And this is some of the things that we don't talk about a lot. And I think a lot of credit needs to be given to to our mothers out there, our women, holding the front, taking care of the kids, while the man is out there. And this is one of the things that women don't acknowledge. And I want to bring that in. At times you have a wife that is watching your 2 3 kids, and you come home and you feel like your wife is not doing anything. The time she's spending with those kids, yelling, you know, running after those kids. There's a lot of pressure on the woman that, most men don't even acknowledge, because you just come back from home, you're exhausted. Yes, we get it that you're exhausted. The woman is like, she's exhausted as well. So we have to come to that point whereby we start to identify these things. And this is one of the issues. This is not a marriage counseling, but this is one of the areas whereby marriages start to break, because men don't understand how to balance and understand some of these factors. I'll
Thank
stop
you.
right there.
Thank you, Tim. I was about to stop you anyway before you go into marriage counseling. you know, thank you. And it's true, some of the things that you mentioned about, the sacrifices of daycare. But should women should we are you saying that are you saying that the women should now stay home and not bother, to have it, because there are some women that don't want to work. They believe I'm having kids, and you did mention something very important. Having children could span up to, maybe somebody has like three or four children. The time they are done could be when the last one is completing high school. So
Wow.
that kind of woman could not, like, like go in and out of the workforce, in and out of the workforce, because they may have to like stay home. That means in some cases the man has to really buckle up to make sure, okay, agreements. You take care of the kids, I'll provide. But it's not always so. That's where the cost, the sacrifices comes in, and that's where the woman has to like go out and do more, or do more inside and all. And those are the things that we have to be aware that happens, you know. If I'm going to be taking care of the kids, then let it be that. And make sure that I'm also okay financially.
Mm.
That's very
Very important.
important.
Yes.
And if I'm going to stay home for that long time or not, otherwise, if that's not the plan, then what is the plan? Are we doing daycare? And just bringing it out to let people know these are the things that happens. All right. So let's also talk about the reactive decision making versus intentional strategy. So we're talking about something like you know we will figure it out versus financial planning. And this is one of the most common money mindsets, especially in the immigrant households. It sounds hopeful, it sounds resilient, and honestly, for many families, it had to be that way at some point. But
Mm.
why do many families go into parenthood without a clear financial plan? Why is that common? We figure it out when we get there. We cross the bridge. What do
Mm.
you want to go on
Yeah,
this?
I was going to say and add on to your previous question
Okay,
and
go ahead.
say that, a lot of families are, they kind of devise the means to say that, yeah, at this point in time, well, I'll just stay home. Many mothers will not, they will never, no woman will feel very comfortable to take out their child to a daycare, to a childcare,
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't
To a child minor,
I
right?
wasn't
They still
comfortable
want
with
to
that.
stay, to bond, but at times certain things will now come in the way. Things like, and when we say certain things come in the way, there is nothing that is coming in the way other than financial pressure, to be
Hmm.
Mhm.
honest. So when you're thinking of, well, we have to deal with these bills, we have to deal with our bills, then it's like, well, we have to make a decision. It's going to be more beneficial for me to stay home, or if I put this child out there to the child minor, I'm going to have to now deal with even the cost that comes with that.
It comes with it, yeah.
So do I have enough coming in for me to be able to make up with that? So these are various things we need to like really consider. And I want to sound a note of warning that every family is dynamic.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
family is unique.
Okay.
There are single
Understand?
mothers.
Say that again.
I said there are single mothers also.
And
Yes.
they're the CEO women too. That after the
Okay.
baby's born, they drop the baby, and the daddy has to watch because they go back into the workforce.
Not even the workforce alone. Some ladies have to go back again to school, go back again and study a whole lot, right? So it's like every family needs to understand the dynamism that is relating in your own family. Because if I begin to look at the Joneses family and I'm saying, oh, the Joneses, well, their mommy works, their daddy works, all the children are in daycare and all that. And I'm telling myself and saying, well, my family has to be the same. Have I sat down to consider the dynamics around my own family? So everybody needs to sit down and understand the dynamics of their family.
Mm.
When we understand the dynamics of our family, then we need to have an honest conversations with ourselves. And when I say with ourselves, two main parties here, two
Yeah.
adults need to sit down and have a conversation. It's not a conversation of this is what we decide, and then we are hearing third parties are, trying to intrude.
Interfering, yeah.
So because these are the two main parties, decision makers in the family,
Yeah.
right? And they are the two board members for right now until the children come in and join them right on the board. So we need to have an honest conversations with ourselves, be transparent, and then see things logically, not with emotions here.
Mm.
We need to look at things logically. I am driven by figures and I want the facts out there. It's not some of those things we talk about it and we are like, yeah, maybe no. No, let's not bring in subjectivity here. We need to be
Yeah.
objective while we're looking through all of this. Why did I say that? And that's going to throw me to your main question, which you just asked. Why many families will go into parenthood without having a clear financial plan? Most of the time, it could be one person that will be earning more than the other. Right now, I'm not even looking at the gender. It could be either. And regardless of whoever is earning more, then let's sit down and have a plan for ourselves. The next 5 years plan, the next 10 years plan, making sure that even our retirement plans are not being jeopardized while
Mm.
we're doing all of this.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, not these conversations don't come up to the table, right? And this, while we're having conversations like this, so that we can start changing the trajectory of how we're having conversations while we're raising families. Planning doesn't mean everything is going to be perfect, people. It just means that I'm thinking ahead. It means that I'm being proactive. I don't want to be reactive.
Yeah.
Understanding that expenses will show up.
Mm.
I will need to adjust the budget. I will need to have basic strategy in place. I told people, and I think I had quite a few sections, I mean, a few days back, and all I kept telling people is you have to have a structure in place. If you don't tell your money where it's going to go, your money is going to find a destination for itself.
Yeah.
So,
Amen.
similar, if we don't put things in place and say, hey, for the first, second, third children, this is what we're going to do. These are things we're going to put in place. This is the structure, and we'll always have to revise, revise, renew what's going on. Is this working? Maybe we need to change things around. We thought this was going to work. Nothing is set on stone. Communication in relationship, it will also come in matters like this. But when we have this conversation with ourselves, honestly, transparently, and very, very objective, we will get to the goal. And at that point in time, preparation will create stability for us over time during any
Yeah.
singular transitional period.
Thank you very much, Modupe. I know if we don't stop Modupe, she's gonna go on and on.
Yeah.
She has it all there, and she's like, once you give her the chance, and she's.
I don't know about you sometimes. You know that.
He's the
But
fire
I'm telling it, yeah. Thank you, Demola. That's who she is, and she just said a lot, and things that we really need to think about, because sometimes I would say sometimes we women we put ourselves in some situations, and we sort of like get used to it, and then later on we may complain, but we actually
Yeah.
allow it to happen, and sometimes we have to also think about that, not allowing things that we don't want for a long term, not allowing them to take root. All right. And she talked about planning, and because of our time, I'm just gonna bring up some very important point that I want us to really talk about before we go today. So let's talk about building a flexible.
I think we got I
I
think
think
I
we
think
lost
what
her a
is
little bit. I'm
yeah,
sure she's probably going to get back on. And
yes.
then we can continue conversation while we'll expect her. So I don't know if you wanted to add on to where I stopped in the last question, Demola.
Yeah, I also wanted to just talk about the fact that, um if there's no foundation in
Mm-hmm.
anything we're doing, it becomes very difficult for us to lay, what the expectations are.
Mm-hmm.
There could only be expectations in whereby, there's a plan in place. Without a plan, there's nothing to expect. How do
Yeah.
you expect something to be
Mm-hmm.
executed if there's no plan in place to begin with? And it's very, very important to note also that, as we continue to go through this thing, it has to be fluid. You said something which is very important, that what applies to A cannot apply to B. And it's so important that people need to sit down to really think ahead and say, what are we going to do in terms of this area when it comes to finances? Because
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's where the disconnect always is.
Mm-hmm.
The time frame for us to do this. And I think another thing that we don't even, even though we know the women are doing a lot, you know now in today's society, we've been very fortunate to see that there are other opportunities while you have a stay-home mom also to be able to do something, whereby their finances does not just come to a halt. And that's one of the things. There's a lot of you know um you know s- work from home, activities you could do now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe content creation, maybe whatever. There's so many other things that women can do now that
Mm-hmm.
also helps, because the worst thing that we don't want to happen is for a woman now not to have access to that financial support.
Mm-hmm.
Because We know that even a man can weaponize that,
Mm.
against the spouse, and that's one thing we don't talk about. So how does a woman still feel secured even though she's not bringing in the money, as in going out to go work? How does she still bring in the money in? And these are some of the options that are there on the table. Have you looked at all these online things that you could do,
Mm-hmm.
on the spare time to bring a little bit change? So that way you're not just fully dependent on your spouse for every little thing. You know, women have their own personal needs. It could be, your personal stuff, your makeup, eyelashes, or maybe your or maybe underwears. There's not everything you want your husband to provide at times.
Yeah.
At times you just want that security, that that you're also earning something, no matter how
Mm-hmm.
little it is. So I think that's another thing that we don't talk about a lot, that the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity is there, the avenue for you to still make money as a stay-home mom. And that
Absolutely.
avenue is there. So that way you don't feel, you don't feel undervalued,
Underutilized. Yeah.
Right.
underutilized.
Yep, I agree. I agree. So we lost you for a second, Debola, and we were just kind of like having a chit chat on a follow up from where I stopped, and I think that was a perfect leeway for Demola to go into quite a few things. I mean, and you heard him talk on other opportunities that ladies could even venture into while they are home. Being that homemaker, right? That they have a perfect I mean, resume to fit into. So back to you.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Technical glitch or something.
Yeah.
I was talking. I just realized that I wasn't hearing you guys. I said, okay, and I
Wow. Okay.
like,
You're
what's
back. You're
going
back to the
on?
studio now.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Demola. Though I didn't hear most of the things that you said, but I believe you heard my question and you went ahead to answer the question. Uh, all right. So we're just going to pick the next point of discussion, which is redefining sacrifice as strategy. Shifting from emotional sacrifice to intentional planning. I think Mondipe, said a little bit about it before, but how can mothers reframe sacrifice in a healthier, more empowering way? If you can just say a little
Thank
about that
you.
before we
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. I think I'll first start by saying that motherhood, I mean, before motherhood comes in, so there is the spouse, the spouses who met themselves and then they thought they deemed each other fit to become couples, right? So I want to say that marriages are not for boys and girls,
Mm,
right? So it's actually for,
absolutely true.
adults, those who are matured emotionally, physically, financially, who are out there, prepared to really face life. So it's not for boys and girls. And when these individuals understand that they have a responsibility handed over to them, not by their parents, but by God.
Mm,
Because going into marriage now, there is a, you know, possibility now that they will go into procreation, right? So if procreation comes along the way and becomes part of the journey, right? All praise to God. Now it calls out for a deeper responsibility.
mm,
Now, so if the mother understands our role in this aspect, that I'm also going to be, part of this life and all that, and takes it with all intentionality, I think it will go a whole lot more. Now, if the husband also is so receiving of that lady's responsibility, and then they see that this is a calling for both of us,
Mhm.
supporting the lady. I'm telling you that there is no woman out there that will feel left out. There
yeah.
will be no woman out there that will not feel loved, that I'm getting all the support I need. I'm getting all the great support I need, even in as I go through each of this milestone. So, what is sacrifice? When you sacrifice, which means you give out something that is so important to you. You know what? We can't explain motherhood, period. We
Mm,
cannot.
That's it. That's
I
exactly
myself, I look
it.
at it and I tell you that, to be honest, that avenue is a very serious one.
mm,
If you should go there and come back and you are still living and you're still living this life, you know what? Just remain thankful to God, to be honest. to be honest, is the quickest way that any single person can lose their life.
mm,
Honestly. So when you recognize the reasons behind you're making that decision to say, what, I'm going to procreate, I'm going to do this for my family. And now you're staying back to pour a lot of value into that child. You no longer see it now as a burden or as a task. You see it as an act of love, which mothers are out there to do, right? You see that
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I love on my family. So it feels less like a sacrifice, but now it seems more like you're progressing towards an achievement. And that is
Mm.
why you see that mothers are so filled with so much love when they see their children grow from one milestone to the other. That singular mindset shift changes everything. It changes everything, especially when the other spouse is receiving and acknowledging all of this great effort.
mm.
It allows you to move forward now with clarity and with confidence. Now, not only do you understand the decisions you've made today, but you know that those decisions were made today so that you can create a more meaningful future for the lives you're bringing on tomorrow. It
Thank
is
you.
powerful. I just want to say a big shout out to all the mothers out there, myself
Yes.
inclusive. You are doing a fantastic job. You
Yep,
just
yep,
don't
yep.
know yet.
Agree.
And I say a word of prayer to all the mothers out there, right? That your labor of love will be crowned with a whole lot of reward, much more
Amen.
than you can imagine in the name of Jesus. You have
Amen.
Amen.
labored on your children, the ones you're raising right now, and the ones you will raise in the future to come. It is my prayer to you, it is also my prayer for myself, that we will not weep on any one of them. It shall be
Amen.
Amen.
well with you. It shall be well with all the mothers out there. It shall be well with even
Amen.
our own mothers too, who have
Yes.
Amen.
raised us even up till this level, that are seeing us
Amen.
grow now to become mothers.
Yes.
Indeed, your quavers are full. Back to you,
Amen.
Debola.
Wow,
Thank
wow,
you.
wow.
Thank you, Pastor Mudupe.
I don't know about
And
that
for
one.
you,
You know what?
that was very beautiful. And thank you for the prayers for all the mothers. So we have to round up now. I wish we could continue, but we need to go. Just dropping this with you. Motherhood, it comes with love, it comes with purpose, and yes, some sacrifices. But here is the truth that we don't say enough. Sacrifice should not cost you your future.
Mm,
Very important. Because while you're showing up for your children, you still deserve that stability. You deserve the growth. You deserve a plan. You deserve something, that you can hold on to. That's okay. This is what I've achieved with raising your children. So this isn't about doing more. It's about doing things with intention. Have a plan in place. Know what your goal is, your short-term goals, your long-term goals. So wherever you are on this journey of motherhood, pause. This is a time to pause, and reflect and ask yourself, is my sacrifice building something or just holding things together? Are you just holding things together or you're building something? So if this episode spoke to you today, please like this video, share with
yeah.
a mom who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more real and practical money conversations. We hope you join us next time on another interesting topic here on the World Bridge. We love you. God bless you.
Yes. God bless you.
Bye,
And happy
everyone.
Mother's Day
And
again.
happy
God
Mother's
bless.
Day once
Happy
again.
Mother's Day.